When you realize women only are attracted to looks, resources, and status, it makes being a good moral man mean nothing to them. When they have been living a Disney princess narrative since early childhood, they grow up in a fantasy thinking they're a queen demanding it all, draining men of their money, energy, attention, and time. If you're Chad, she's a recreational activity, but if you're Brad, to her you're an ATM or a false allegation, both of which will cost you everything. Walk away, boys. It's quite simple. Modern women value men by how much money they make, not the content of their character. In 2017, Forbes did a top 100 of the world's richest women, and 98 of them married rich and divorced to take the divorce money. Only 2 of them organically became wealthy. My point is, they fight prenups because they plan the divorce before the marriage. It's all planned. Don't fall for it. There's no denying that men need to be strong and independent. Men need to focus on their education, health, workouts, swimming, reading good books, and eating well. We as men do not need to be stuck with somebody who drains all of our resources and creates instability in our lives. The problem with dating Western women nowadays is that there are way more people that want to be supported but don't want to support their partner. They just want what's good, like money and resources, but don't want to deal with what's bad, especially if it involves physical and psychological. So it's no wonder Western men are looking elsewhere and seeing beauty where it thrives. Not only do they seek beautiful women they can find in other countries, but they're also looking for women with traditional values and healthy standards of life and living, and it really does make sense for them to look elsewhere. I mean, imagine looking around you and seeing the same sort of women with the same sort of ideas and tendencies about dating and relationships, health, life, exercise, family values, and looking at life in general. Since most Western women are incredibly entitled, they take men for granted and expect men to live their lives, sacrificing everything for the sake of women, and not receive anything in return. While men bring everything to the table, women only expect men to do their part and more, without bringing anything to the table themselves. Apart from physical intimacy, there's not much that Western women can do. They don't want to have children in their prime. They'd rather waste their prime and most fertile years partying and sleeping around with other men. They'd rather spend that time chasing corporate careers and climbing corporate ladders. But when they realize they're nearing their biological clock, they suddenly want the same men they used to reject in their 20s and expect them to be available for marriage. That's when they realize those sane men who focused on their lives with a purpose are already married and happily living with their families. So that's 2 major reasons why men venture to the East to find women who have more substance. Truth is, Western women crave attention. They want validation. They want everyone to say how great they are, without having to put in any hard work. They want all of this all the time. With the MGTOW community growing at an exponential pace, more and more men are finding out the truth about the true nature of women and how women inherently live off of the hard work of men and want to enjoy all the benefits they have. And with all the men from around the world sharing their stories about betrayal and disloyalty at the hands of women, women really need to think, or there will come a time when they'd have to beg men for attention that they have and are currently receiving for absolutely free. Men have realized that their time is better spent on chasing their purpose, building their businesses, honing their craft, and pursuing their innermost passions, and not chasing women or spending time with them. And now that Western women have proven their mettle, Western men have every right to look for women elsewhere because the women around them are not worth being with in the first place. That's the bitter, harsh, and brutal reality modern women need to face and come to terms with. They need to understand that they have to change their ways because sooner or later they won't have any men looking for them, which will eventually make them the second or third choice for men. I don't think that's something modern women would want. In fact, if Western women keep going about their ways, they'll soon be labeled as undateable. Now that is something that will further make them angry and create more bias against passport bros and women from other countries. However, we all know the truth now, and we can see modern women for who they really are. Women who choose to become impregnated by a man who is not her mate, her husband, the man whom she has publicly and clearly given herself to, and chooses to omit this information to any party, especially the man whom she sets up to father the children she births, is an evil and heinous act. Men are disgusted to the core at how women monkey branch off to other men as a result of their hypergamous nature. A core part of female nature is hypergamy, which means they date up the socioeconomic strata. This might be great for them, but it's demoralizing for men. Imagine a guy who makes just enough money to pay his bills, put decent and healthy food on the table, have a nice car and a decent apartment, and do everything he can to accommodate the woman he loves. He uses his life savings to buy her a diamond ring, help her settle in with him, pay for her lifestyle, and even take her on trips to other cities. He's doing everything he can to make her happy. Now imagine that the same woman starts getting some attention from a rich businessman who earns more in a day than the woman's current boyfriend earns in an entire month. That man finds her attractive and keeps sending her messages and sliding into her DMs. She eventually agrees to see him and is blown away by his wealth and the luxury handbags, heels, and watches he gifts her. What he spends on her is nothing for him, by the way, but what her current boyfriend spent on her was everything to him. Now imagine that woman dumps her boyfriend and starts dating the wealthy billionaire full-time. She just discards the guy who truly loved her with all his heart and just jumps on a chance to be with the wealthy guy. And guess what? That wealthy guy then dumps her after a few months, leaving her stranded and begging her old boyfriend to move back in with him. Sure, this sounds like a drama or a movie, but it's a common reality. This is what men are facing every single day. Imagine how frustrating it would be for Western men to constantly be disrespected by women who are incredibly entitled and want guys around them to live their whole lives orbiting around them. If you were in this situation, you'd look elsewhere too, because you know there are good women in the rest of the world who know how to respect their men and who know how to live a healthy life. These women are feminine and don't try to create fissures between a man and a woman by doing things they expect their men to do. They know their place in a partnership and they fully expect their men to play their part as well. They're not pushovers, as Western media would have you thinking. The level of selfishness, entitlement, arrogance, narcissism, and pure greed of today's and especially their egos is insane. I don't even understand why men bother dating anymore. It's not worth it dealing with these crazy women. You can't tell women jack. They walk around with no shame, no guilt, no remorse, not a care in the world except for themselves. And that's essentially what is driving men away from them. All being said, we see the proof everywhere. Western women are some of the most entitled women in the world. They want what they want, and they want the 1% of men, while they don't even want to take one step toward the man in the relationship. They're like cats, queens wherever they go. They don't want to make any effort themselves. It's no wonder we have movements such as the Passport Bros, who are literally flying across the world to find better partners. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.